everybody. Swamp Fox coming at you. Hope everybody's doing well. Just another day of crazy driving in South Carolina, heading to church. Just to give everybody an update, I'm doing good on my cancer treatment. You know, you never really get rid of cancer once you got it. You get in remission and you have to keep battling it pretty much on and off. And that's what I'm doing. Doing good. So I go to MD Anderson this month in Houston, Texas. So if the Texas Sheepdog is anywhere close to Houston, maybe we can meet up. We'll be there for a couple days having a ablation done to a spot on my liver. And now I am on the Joe Tippin trial as well, just so y'all know. I don't mind telling everybody. I know everybody thinks it's funny. You see that fenbendazole? It's amazing. It saves so many people from cancer. But anyway, so I take that every day as well. But I'm thankful that God's blessing me. I'm on this side of the dirt. And I do have peripheral neuropathy real bad in my feet and hands. But I deal with it. You know, I can only stand on my feet for, about 4 hours. I mean, it hurts all day, no matter what time. Once I start standing up, it hurts because it's like pins and needles in your feet. But I've learned to deal with it, and I get about 4 or 5 hours before it's really bothering me so bad. And then usually by the fifth or sixth hour, I'm taking a break, at least for an hour or two off my feet, and then I go back, work a few more hours. And I've been able to do that and make it through because there's nothing they can do about it. They've tried gabapentin and all these other drugs that help some people, but not everyone, and it didn't help me. It actually gave me bad side effects. So I don't take anything for the peripheral neuropathy. LOL. Laugh out loud. Anyway. But I got a small place on my, colon and peritoneum area. Now, so what you're going to do is the ablation this month, September 2024. And then after that, I'm supposed to come back to South Carolina, and they're going to start me on a chemo plan where I do chemo again to get rid of that last little bit of cells there and be what they call in remission again until maybe next time a cell will show up. I do tests every 90 days, and this all started October of 2022. I had my first operation, and then that was for the colon cancer stage 4. It moved into my peritoneum, which is rare. So I had to be one of the ones. It bypassed my lymph nodes, went straight into my peritoneum. I had to go to North Carolina, Winston-Salem, North Carolina for that. Supposed to be the first doctor to ever do peritoneum, and he was supposed to be the #1 doctor for peritoneum. And I think he did a good job as far as, getting rid of the cancer and all that, and what he was supposed to do with the procedure. But I don't know if it was him or his nurse or doctor or however it does, because I'm not real sure. But someone who sewed me up did something wrong, and I was told I had to walk 3 or 4 times a day, several hundred feet a day. That's part of my daily routine. I couldn't just sit in a chair and heal. It's bad for you, blood clots, this, that, and the other. So I was walking like I was supposed to, and all of a sudden, I start getting a real bad pain. I'm bandaged up in my stomach. I got a 15 to 16 inch incision running down through my belly button, down above my private, and under my chest area. And So I start feeling this real bad pain, and it's going all the way down my stomach. I'm like, holy cow, what's going on? And I open my bandage, and all my sutures popped open, and my intestines popped out. My small intestines popped out. So, anyway, I rushed myself to the hospital. I jumped in the van. I didn't want to wait. I knew it was an emergency situation, and I didn't know what was going to happen. So I rushed to the hospital, drove myself, and I got there, and it was like, yes, they took me immediately into the emergency room once I showed them what was going on. And they started putting saline water and bandages on it, and said it was a good thing I didn't wait on an ambulance and all that, because the more time I would have been away from wetness on that intestines that popped out, it would have dried out. They would have had to remove that, put me on like a coloscopy bag or whatever, and it would have been just more operations than what I already had to go through. But anyway, they kept it wet. They rushed me from Roper, Berkeley to downtown Roper Hospital, 100 miles an hour in an ambulance, full sirens and everything, after they got me stable at the Berkeley County and gave me morphine or Dilaudid, whatever, because I was in serious pain. And they had me stable and rushed me down there where a Dr. Clevenger, which was a great doctor. I'm going to tell you what, this surgeon put me back together and told me that basically she wasn't going to be able to sew me up or staple me together. She didn't think it was going to work, and that I was probably going to need either a mesh or a wound vac, and that she didn't want to do the mesh because they're really not good, and that, you know, it might end up having to do the wound vac. And so we went ahead. She tried to close me up with staples and stuff, and it just didn't hold. So they ended up putting a wound vac on me, which, just like it sounds, it's a wound vacuum. It's a portable machine that runs off, plug it in the wall, of course, electricity, or it has a battery backup that ran about 6 hours before you had to charge it again. And I had to wear it 24 hours a day, and they changed the bandage every 3 days. I had a nurse come to my house and would change the bandages. Now, I also had Bill, who's a family member, learn how to do everything in case an emergency situation came in the middle of the night, because the nursing place don't usually come out overnight. They tell you to go to the emergency room, which is ridiculous because it's thousands and thousands of dollars, and already my insurance, for me to have my insurance, is $1,040 a month just for the premium, not including the deductibles and everything else. Now, it is good insurance, and they're way losing on me, that's for sure. They've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars keeping me alive, and we haven't spent that much towards the insurance. If you look at $1,040 a month plus deductibles, I mean, it just doesn't compare. But that's what insurance is about, because there's a lot of people who don't get sick for years and years and years and pay into it, and that's how it floats and works, you know. So anyway, thank God I have the ability to have the family around me to help me, but he learned how to change my bandages, and make no mistake, the machine did end up having problems where in the middle of the night, like 1 o'clock the first time, and I think 3 o'clock the next time it happened, I had to call him, and he got up, came over to my house, and helped me, because I have to lay in a certain way. I can't kind of do it myself. I have to lay flat and, you know, be still while this abundance of stuff had to be added. They had this special foam that got stuffed down into the wound, because, you know, it wasn't stapled shut or sewed shut, so they stuffed this special foam down in there, and then they stuck the vacuum over the foam, and then they stuck this special plastic bandage over all that and taped it to my belly. And it was some aggressive tape, buddy. Let me tell you, they shaved me, you know, and before they put it on, But this was going on for 5 months, so my hair keeps growing back. They keep having to shave me over time, and sometimes they miss spots, and it gets under the bandage. Boy, let me tell you, it was just painful. But so Bill came over a couple times, in the middle of the night and helped out, and he literally drove me from Charleston, South Carolina to Winston-Salem, North Carolina, to the hospital there. Dr. Levine was the surgeon who did my peritoneum, and I think we made like 6 or 7 trips over the course of 6 months. He drove me down there. When I had my operation, he got a hotel, stayed. When I had the operation, he stayed in my room, spent the night with me the first couple nights, so that way, if I needed something, I didn't always have to rely on the nurses and wait on them. And I was just in a bunch of pain from the operation. Imagine getting a 15 to 16-inch incision in your belly. It was between 15 and 16 inches. I can't remember exactly. They did tell me, but it was either 15 or 16. I'd have to go look at my chart to make sure. No exaggeration here. So anyway, if you can handle it, I'll post some pictures later of my intestines sticking out of my stomach. It's really kind of wild. But I'm thankful that, I did have good doctors that was able to, help me out. Mistakes were made. Now I've had people say, you need to sue. And I could, if that's the type of person I was. I literally do have a case. But that's what the problem with America is today. Everybody wants to sue everybody. That's why it's hard to get doctors to do anything. Mistakes were made. And yes, they know about them. And that's enough. I didn't die. Thank God I'm on this side of the dirt still. Now, I spent 3 months in November. 3 weeks in November, 3 weeks in December, 3 weeks in January, and almost 3 weeks in February in and out of the hospital because of my stomach opening up. I got bacteria poison and had abscesses all in my stomach, and they had to put these drain bags, 2 on my left and 1 on my right. And they had me on some antibiotics, and it seemed to work sort of in the hospital. I'd be in there 2 and 3 weeks in a lot of pain. They had me on Dilaudid, 2 milligrams. Well, it started off between 1 and 2, but it ended up, to keep me out of pain, they gave me 2 milliliters or milligrams of Dilaudid every 2 hours. Dilaudid is morphine. It's a strong version of morphine. And they would come in like clockwork and give it to me. Now, I did have a problem where I had a couple nurses who deliberately didn't give me my medicine because, they was liberals and they didn't like the fact that I'm a free American conservative and libertarian who just wants to be free. And, anyway, so, but I got one of the nurses kicked off my care team, and then her friend got mad and tried to do the same thing. And so I said, look, I don't want these people on my care team. They're not taking care of me. And here's proof of it. Look at when I had my last pain medicine. I'm sitting here dying in pain, and they're just letting me suffer. And so anyway, she got taken off my care team as well. All because, I know why. It's because of they're liberals. They don't believe in freedom. And I was watching some videos on my laptop, and they could see what it was, and it was people doing First Amendment audits and stuff, and anyway, they just really didn't like it, I could tell. And anyway, long story short, it wasn't on my team, but for the most part, I had some great people who took excellent care of me while I was in the hospital. And anyway, Dr. Clevenger was a great doctor. Had some really good nurses that took good care of me. Bridget Perrin was one of them. Dang, I missed my turn, but that's all right. I still got plenty of time. That's what happens when you run in your mouth and you ain't paying attention to where you're going, just trying to drive safe. But I'm heading to church, and I still got 40 minutes to start. So, riding and chatting. But anyway, that being said, I'm thankful, man. I go to work. I have no energy a lot of the times, but I just keep pushing myself, and God keeps providing that extra hand for me to keep on moving forward. I battle with depression. I'm bipolar, and I don't take no medicine for it, and I haven't since my 20s. I refuse to take that legal pharmaceutical crap because it never did nothing for me but make me feel worse, okay? And so I'm thankful that, like drugs, I was a crackhead at one time. I've told y'all that. I dealt marijuana and had this guy that bought marijuana from me that also dealt cocaine and crack and stuff. He came and said, "Hey, can I cook this up at your house?" And I got to go all the way back town. I lived in Goose Creek, and he said, "I got people who are going to be waiting on me. I don't want a house full of people. Do you mind?" I was like, "No, I don't mind." He was a friend. And so I just started dating this girl named Stacy Shorter. And he came in and he said, "Here you go." After he got done cooking, he came in the room and he laid down a chunk. And he had it looked like a biscuit, and he called it a cookie. But he took a chunk off of it and gave it to me. I said, "I don't want that stuff, man. You get hooked on that crap." And I said, "But thanks." I said, "You can take that with you." And she looked at me and said, "No, take it, keep it." And I was like, "What?" She's like, yeah, that's all. You don't get hooked on it." She goes, you didn't know. We've been dating, I think, about 2 weeks now. She said, "I smoked it a couple times and been around you." And I was like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay." I said, "I just, I never tried. I've heard all these horror stories about it, so we kept it." Mistake. But let me tell you that stuff will grab you. And it ruined me for a while. I was a bad person. I really was. I did some bad things. I stole. I wasn't good. I conned. I lied. I cheated. And when I heard my mom lying to her, and really, she turned her, back on me at that time. It's like the second time. The other time was when I wasn't hooked on drugs. I was just selling marijuana. And she said, that she was done with all that. She didn't raise me to be like that. But when she turned her back on me for being a drug addict, it was the best thing that ever happened to me, because that, to me, was hitting rock bottom. I loved my mother. She was my best friend. And how I hurt her being a drug addict, and I stole money from her. I ain't gonna lie. Well, it wasn't money. It was these plates, these whatnots, you call them. But it was these Lennox duck print plates that she paid like $50 a piece for, and I took them to this place on Rivers Avenue that bought furniture and household goods. It was like a thrift shop, but also like a pawn shop. And I sold them to them for $25 a piece and went and smoked crack. And, that broke my mom's heart. And that was it, That made me, that to me was rock bottom. And I didn't stop smoking that day. It took me a few weeks of not being able to be around my mom, her not answering my phone calls and everything else. And I decided to clean my life up. And I quit smoking crack. But I didn't quit dealing weed. I got cleaned up, got back in the weed game, and became a big weed dealer again. I was selling no less than 1,000 pounds a month to 1,500 pounds a month. Hugo showed me how much weed was actually grown in South Carolina, because when Hugo Hugo came, I wasn't getting my weed in South Carolina. It was coming from a guy out of Texas, and it was some of the best stuff. I mean, we called it Christmas tree back in the day. They got all these different names for it now. But when it tasted really good, you know, it had that really good taste to it that would blow you away. We called it Christmas tree. And got different, you know, varieties they call Sensimillion and things like that. But they got all these different names for it now. Bubba Kush, and I can't even think of all the names now. I'm just talking about it having, you know, flashback in time. But anyway, I know I'm rambling, guys, so I probably lost a lot of you. This is just an update video that God is blessing me. Now, I have a lot of family, like I said, that's helping me. Not only Bill, but his wife, Bethlyn, and sons, Clay and Clint, and their wives, Ashley and Laura, and of course all the kids. You know, my big immediate family, David and Sherry. They come over and feed and water my dogs when I'm in the hospital and flying and traveling. And a lot of you know my little plump dog. I call him my fat boy. He's got diabetes, and we got him on a diet, and he's lost 3 pounds in the last 8 months now, which is good. And we're trying to get him about 3 or 4 more, but the doctor don't want to, you know, starve him to do it, but because he ain't like Patches and Precious. I gave to Sherry and David because they had taken care of her for so many months while I was in the hospital, because Patches and Precious fight when I'm not home, and I always combated that by, I got a backyard and a front yard fenced off, and I could leave one on one side and 2 on the other, and that always was fine. But in the wintertime, Precious could go inside the house through the doggy door, and Patches and Prince could go on the screen porch in the front. So everybody was out of the weather, but still not all the way the cold for Patches and Prince, because they're just on the porch. Precious can get into the heated house, and so we didn't want that to be the case. And so Sherry and David took Precious to their house and let Patches and Prince be in the whole yard, so they could just get in, or in the backyard, whichever they would decide to do. And then that way they could get in and out the house and have warmth and air conditioner during the summer, because this has been going on, like I said, for 2 years. So right now it's the summer months, and then let them in for the cool, and the winter months for the heat, of course. And so they had her for so many months, right, that they fell in love with her. And so when I got out of the hospital, even though I was starting to heal, I could not in my heart. I kept saying, how am I going to take this dog from them? You know, they love her, and I love them, and it's going to break their heart for me to take the dog from them. I know it's going to happen because they love animals so much, okay? And y'all see my videos. People who follow me know what I'm talking about. She is the DNR certified wildlife rehabilitationist, that they actually bring her wildlife to rehabilitate. She's rehabilitated deers, owls, that buzzard on my channel. I've showed it. And birds, people are bringing her little birds all the time, and she's rehabilitating them and setting them free, and it's just amazing. And so I couldn't take the dog, and I ended up saying, look, y'all live right next door. I'm going to pick her up sometime and take her off with me, because, you know, I do take them shopping in Lowe's and this, that, and stuff. Y'all have seen them videos too. And people at Lowe's are going, hey, what happened to the little dog? And I'm like, well, she's next door, and I'll bring her in sometime. And plus, I take her to my mom's grave and stuff. And so, and then when they had to go out of town, normally they would take her, but they was when she had a procedure, medical procedure, so they couldn't take her where they was going to the hospital. So I ended up keeping her for the 4 days they was gone. And they came home on the 5th day and ended up picking her up. And, you know, it's just worked out really good. I see her anytime I want. I spend time with her anytime I want. She comes over and visits. I take her off, and, you know, it's really worked out. And Sherry and David heart didn't get broken, which didn't break my heart to break their heart, you know, and it's all worked out. And she's really spoiled over there. She don't have to deal with Patches bullying her around, you know, because she stood up for herself. Don't get me wrong, but there was 2 times in the years that they lived together, they never fought. And like all of a sudden, they would fight. But only when I wasn't home and I left them in the yard running together, which I'd always done. I come home one time and they was both bloody a little bit. They had puncture wounds and stuff. So I ran them to the vet and, you know, made sure they was okay. And so I was like, and the vet's like, yeah, it's probably just, you know, one of those things. Patches went in heat probably, and the other one was fixed. They said, you need to get Patches fixed because when she goes in heat, she's going to try to be a bully. Because you have a male dog, and although he's fixed, Patches don't know that, and it's like a dominance thing is what they was thinking. And I was like, all right. And so it didn't happen again for a while, but then they got in another fight. I said, they was out there digging for moles together, no problems. I ran to this gas station to get gas to cut the grass. By the time I got back, they was fighting in the yard. I ran up and broke them up, and that was that time. And that was it. I put a fence up in the middle and separated them. So, you know. But all right, y'all. If anybody in South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina, Somerville, Low Country area needs a good Bible-based Christian church, I suggest y'all come to North Charleston Church of Christ. Everyone is welcome. We love everyone, no matter what your color or background is. Just like me. I'm an ex-criminal, and look at me coming to church. And they welcome me because I'm an ex-criminal. So anyway, we love everyone. We hope to see you come. North Charleston Church of Christ. God bless everyone. Have a great day.